Carvana, a used car company once hailed as the Amazon of automobiles. No showroom, no sales staff, just a click of a mouse. In 2021, their market price was even higher than Ford's, and the CEO was hailed as the Jeff Bezos of the automotive industry. However, just 2 years later, that same company was on the brink of bankruptcy. The glass towers that once gleamed with new cars are now completely empty. The customer is suing because they didn't receive the legal documents. Many states have banned the activity. A brand worth $60 billion is now just a $10 stock. How can something that grows so fast collapse so quickly? Perhaps the problem isn't just about timing or the market, and in the illusion of invincibility. This is not just a story about a bankrupt business, but it's also a story about faith, greed, and the price America pays when it loves a dream too perfect to be true. So what happened? Rewind. Before the lawsuits, before the wave of layoffs, before this dream is lost. 10 years ago, a 31-year-old man had a crazy idea. If we can buy everything online, why can't we buy cars? That's Ernest Garcia III, the founder of Carvana, and also the son of Ernest Garcia II, a former billionaire who was embroiled in financial scandals in the 1990s. The father and son duo are launching this project from their old empire, Drive Time Automotive, a company specializing in used car loans. The initial idea was truly appealing. Eliminate the agent, eliminate the touts, eliminate the fear of being ripped off every time you step into a showroom. Instead, you just open the website, choose the car, and click Buy Now. The car will be delivered right to your door, or you can pick it up yourself from an 8-story glass automated car vending machine. The Amazon dream of cars began there. In 2015, Carvana was recognized by Forbes magazine on its list of most promising companies. 2 years later, they went public. Although the stock price dropped on the first day, it didn't matter at all. Investors loved them. The press hailed them. Americans love them. They're not just selling cars, they're selling belief. The belief that technology can change the way we view an industry that's been around for centuries. And success came so quickly that no one had time to blink. In 2018, Carvana sold over 100,000 vehicles. In 2021, that number was already $425,000, a fourfold increase in just 3 years. Revenue exceeded $10 billion, placing it on the Fortune 500 in just 9 years, faster than both Google and Amazon. On Wall Street, Carvana is called the flying unicorn, and consumers call them a revolution. And it really does look like a revolution. No need to face salespeople, no need to haggle, no need to go anywhere. In a country obsessed with speed and convenience, Carvana became the American Dream version 4.0. But every American dream has its own blind spot. While people only see the light of the Carvana towers, they forget that the brightest light often hides the first cracks. Behind that innovation model lies a truth few pay attention to. Carvana doesn't just sell cars, they sell loans. Each car is a credit package, securitized, and resold to the bank. In other words, Carvana doesn't make money from drivers, but from numbers on paper. A profit model that looks modern but sounds familiar? It's exactly what caused the US economy to collapse in 2008. But when you're at the top, who wants to look down? Carvana stock just kept going up, and up. Investors call it the company of the future. CEO Garcia III appeared on the magazine cover with a confident smile. Everything was too fast, too easy, and too good to question. But somewhere beneath the dreamlike numbers, a mountain of debt is growing. And the no one knew yet, that mountain would be where Carvana's dream would come crashing down. When you build an empire on speed and trust, the only thing more terrifying than slowing down is when that trust begins to waver. 2020. The entire United States is shut down. The world is in turmoil. But amidst that chaos, Carvana is experiencing a golden age. As traditional dealerships closed, Carvana, with its online model, became a COVID hero. Used car prices increased by over 40%. People are rushing to buy cars, avoiding public transportation, and Carvana, they are in heaven. The media called them the winners of the pandemic. CEO Garcia appeared on CNBC smiling. This is just the beginning, and perhaps that's the problem. As demand skyrocketed, Carvana did what every fast-growing company does: buy, really, A lot. They poured money into unsold cars, believing prices would never fall. They opened additional facilities, expanded their warehouses, and hired more people. It all hinges on a single assumption: the market will always go up. But the interesting thing about dreams that keep going up is that they always have a point of falling. As the global supply chain recovers, new vehicles are flooding the market. People are starting to tighten their belts, and interest rates are rising. Used car prices plummeted by over 20%. And suddenly, the cars Carvana bought at peak prices became expensive inventory no one wanted to touch. But Carvana couldn't stop, because if it stops, everything collapses. They borrowed more to maintain growth momentum. Debt upon debt, loan interest is ballooning. From an e-commerce company, Carvana gradually transformed into a massive financial machine that is consuming itself. And though the surface still gleamed, the first cracks had appeared. Online, customers started complaining. My car is late. The paperwork is incorrect. Carvana is not answering the phone. Small whispers, but enough to shake confidence. The stock began to waver. No one noticed. Because when you're at the top, you won't hear the ice cracking beneath your feet. And that was the first minor slip. It won't collapse. No major scandals. Just a few minor errors, a few late orders, a few red numbers. But from that moment on, Carvana went from being a beloved company to a company under suspicion. And if you look closely, you'll see that every empire that falls begins with things that are very, very small like that. As Carvana entered 2022, everything on the outside still looked perfect. The glass towers still shine every night. Commercials are still shown during halftime of the Super Bowl. Employees are still being patted on the back. We're changing the industry. But deep down, everyone in the company felt something was wrong. They just weren't brave enough to say it. Emails apologizing to customers are starting to appear more frequently. Some cars were delivered late. Some customers did not receive their registration papers on time. There's nothing to worry about, just a few minor hiccups. But if you've ever heard a building creak and groan before it collapses, you'll know that small cracks always sound before the crash. Externally, CEO Ernest Garcia III still smiles brightly on television. We are still growing steadily, but the numbers don't lie. Inventory skyrocketed. Logistics costs are at record highs. Securitized loans are becoming increasingly risky. And the empire once built on speed is now surviving on denial. For employees, Carvana is still a startup dream. But from another angle, they see things no one wants to mention. Longer shifts, rushed deliveries, and vehicles that need to be polished before being shown to customers. A former employee recounted, "We don't inspect as thoroughly as we used to. As long as the car starts, that's all that matters." That saying, which sounds like a small matter, was the first crack heard in the wall of absolute quality that Carvana had always been proud of. On the customer side, the stories began to spread. "My car was delivered 3 weeks late. The documents are incorrect. I can't register the car I bought." Initially, it was just a few small online comments, but then they became an unwanted soundtrack, playing on and on, softly but steadily, under the bright marketing lights of Carvana. And so, everyone started whispering. The smiles in the office are shorter. No one said we're in trouble, but everyone felt that something had changed in the air. Carvana remains an icon, but if you look closely, you'll see that the light reflecting from those towers is no longer as clear as before. It has begun to fade, mixing with the color of the cloudy sky. And that was the moment between two worlds, between glory and downfall, between confidence and self-deception. People still believe they are writing the next chapter of the American dream, but in reality, they are writing the first lines of a long, irreversible decline. There's a saying like this: "It's not the storm that brings us down, but the belief that the sky will never change." And in that summer of 2022, Carvana still stood under their own clear skies, unaware that the first winds had begun to blow in the distance. In 2022, the dream is starting to break. Not overnight, but little by little, like a building silently cracking under the setting sun. In the spring of 2022, Carvana spent $2.2 billion to acquire Adisa, the second largest vehicle auction chain in the United States. A huge deal declared by CEO Garcia as a historic leap. But that leap was taken at the right time, just as the market was plummeting. Interest rates are rising, used car prices are plummeting, and people are cutting back on spending. Carvana is holding a mountain of inventory worth billions of dollars, buying high, selling low. To stay in operation, they borrowed more. The debt ballooned to over $9 billion. Each year, they have to pay nearly $500 million in interest. And by mid-year, the company reported an accounting loss of $800 million. The stock went from $376 to just $10. Market value evaporated by over $58 billion. In just 1 year, Amazon of cars transformed into WeWork of asphalt. But it wasn't just the numbers that collapsed. Trust also collapsed. In Illinois, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, Carvana's license to sell vehicles has been revoked. Why? Delivering the vehicle without registration documents. Hundreds of customers were stopped by police because the cars they bought were not legally registered. Some customers shared, "I was arrested for a Carvana vehicle that I had paid for in full. I've been waiting for the documents for over 18 months and still nothing." And while the company advertised 150 rigorous inspection points, customers shared photos of scratched, dented, and even flooded cars. Carvana once promised a perfect experience, but what they brought was an administrative, technical, and ethical nightmare. Not stopping there, tensions erupted internally. Thousands of employees were laid off. More than 2,500 people lost their jobs in just a few months. Those who stayed had to work 12 hours a day, racing to deliver the cars on time. A former employee expressed, "If the car still starts, it's good enough to deliver." That saying spread like a dark symbol. Proof that Carvana was no longer a tech startup, but a reckless machine willing to sacrifice people to maintain speed. When things are out of control, people start looking inward. And inside, the numbers are no longer pretty. 44% of Carvana's loans are non-prime. Nearly 80% are deep subprime, meaning the buyers have extremely poor credit. When customers couldn't afford to pay, Carvana bundled those loans together and sold them to a third party, which was essentially a company related to themselves. A circular financial model. The subsidiary buys back the parent company's debt, reports false profits, and conceals the true debt. As things began to collapse, Ernest Garcia II, the father who had quietly sold over $3.6 billion in stock before the shares plummeted, perhaps when the ship starts to sink, the first person to jump always knows what's about to happen. And then came in mid-2023, financial research firms like Hindenburg Research called Carvana an illusion built on debt, deception, and desperation. The states are simultaneously opening investigations. The press exposed the scandal, and the market, for the first time, no longer believes. Everything collapsed, not with a loud sound, but with thousands of small cracks that combined to form a great fissure. From a celebrated company, Carvana is now seen as a symbol of technological arrogance. They didn't disappear because of business failure. They disappeared because of the belief that they couldn't be wrong. Carvana is not facing any major events. It was a collision in slow motion, and everyone saw it coming. In 2 years, $60 billion evaporated. More than 10,000 people were affected. Thousands of customers are involved in lawsuits, and America woke up to a painful lesson. Technology can shorten everything except consequences. Beneath that cold glass, what remained was not a car, but millions of pieces of shattered trust. When the storm passed, people expected to see devastation. But Carvana is still standing there. The glass towers are still lit. The website is still working. The stock, after falling nearly 98%, unexpectedly rebounded. That's right. A company drowning in debt, under investigation in multiple states, is still being sought after by investors as a miraculous survivor. Some people call it resurrection. In 2024, Carvana is attracting media attention again. Growth is back. The stock has increased tenfold. That sounds spectacular. But if you read carefully, you'll notice a small detail. They don't actually make money from the cars. They made money from debt restructuring, loan extensions, and asset sales. A resurrection inflated by accounting. Meanwhile, a report by Hindenburg Research revealed father-son accounting grift, a financial scheme orchestrated by the Garcia father-son duo themselves. The report alleges they cooked the books, sold risky loans, and engaged in insider trading. Things that seemed to only happen at Enron are now appearing in the age of innovative startups. And so we see the most tragicomic thing in every story of collapse. The one who caused the error never believes they are wrong. They just believe that. No one understands them properly yet. Garcia still claims Carvana will come back stronger than ever. Investors are buying again. The press is writing resurrection articles again, as if the recent $60 billion drop was just an experiment. But if you pause, you'll see something is wrong with that picture. Those who have lost money remain silent. The laid-off employees are still looking for work. Customers who have never received their vehicle documents are still waiting. Only the media and the market are talking about hope. A hope painted with green data streams on the screen, rather than with genuine faith. The truth is, Carvana didn't fail because their model was wrong. They failed because they wouldn't slow down to take a really good look at that model. They used technology as an excuse for their arrogance. They call borrowing debt growth, ignoring risk courage, and illusions the future. What made Carvana unsustainable wasn't mistakes, but absolute belief that they couldn't be wrong. And the most ironic part? They didn't disappear at all. They are still there restructuring, making promises, posting job openings, and talking about a new era of growth. It's as if nothing ever happened. It's as if America is standing before another glass tower, seeing the light reflected and wondering. Maybe this time, it's real. But you know what? The truth is, Carvana has never recovered. They just haven't admitted yet that they can't hold on anymore. When everything fades away, the only thing that remains is the lessons. And sometimes those lessons are written in 60 billion. Carvana isn't the first story like this. Previously, we had WeWork, selling space, but in reality, selling the illusion of culture. We have Theranos, promising to save lives, but in reality, only saving the stock price. And Enron, the greatest financial icon of the 20th century, until it was discovered that everything was just creative accounting. Carvana is just the latest chapter in the age-old book titled Arrogance Disguised as Innovation. We used to believe Carvana would change the used car industry, but then we realized they didn't change the way they bought cars. They're just changing the way they sell illusions. Because Carvana didn't fail due to a bad model. They failed because they believed technology could eliminate trust. They think that if everything is automated, humans won't need to take responsibility. But the world has never worked that way. Trust cannot be delivered by truck. Responsibility cannot be signed away by algorithms. And no technology is strong enough to replace honesty. Carvana once said, "We don't just sell cars, we sell convenience." That sounds great, but convenience, if lacking conscience, is just laziness beautifully packaged. And when we prioritize convenience over belief, the only thing crushed under the wheels is humanity. Ultimately, Carvana will not be remembered for how many cars they sold. They will be remembered for teaching us one thing. In business, you can break the mold, but never break your ethics. Because innovation isn't about tearing everything down, but knowing how far to go before losing yourself. And perhaps that is the true legacy Carvana leaves behind. It's not about the cars, but a reminder for every generation of startups to come. You can build an empire with speed, but you can only keep it with honesty. Every fallen empire leaves a lesson. But more importantly, did we really learn anything? Carvana may be just a company, but behind it is a mirror reflecting modern society, where speed is prioritized over value and convenience is revered over trust. So what about you? What do you think? Is trust still the foundation of business in the age of algorithms? Or have we become accustomed to believing in anything that's faster and cheaper without knowing if it's true? Please leave your thoughts below. I really want to hear your perspective, not just about Carvana, but about trust in the world we're building together. And if you enjoy stories like this, where the business world is told like human dramas, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because soon we'll be decoding many more American dreams together, from great brands to unexpected falls. This video is produced for analytical and educational purposes only and does not represent any official views or investment advice. All facts, figures, and quotes are compiled from public sources, reputable financial reports, and media materials. Some images, documents, and statements are used for reasonable illustrative purposes to support commentary and analysis. Thank you for watching. See you in the next videos.